Roll this now. Awaiting a news conference at the White House from Immigration Chief Ken Cuccinelli. About 30 minutes from now, we will see him live. Meanwhile, we're learning one of the food processing plants targeted in that immigration raid about a week ago is hosting a jobs fair today. This after hundreds of its workers were arrested after those raids.
This was a joint criminal investigation with ICE and the Department of Justice targeting worksite enforcement, meaning companies that knowingly and willfully hire illegal aliens so that in most cases they can pay them reduced wages, exploit them further for their bottom line. That's what this investigation was about, a criminal investigation.
So in a moment, we'll talk with former acting ICE Director Tom Homan. He'll be here live. But first, Rick Leventhal was at that job center in Forest, Mississippi. Rick, good morning.
Good morning, Bill. The job fair officially starts in about 30 minutes and will last 4 hours, but they opened the doors about a half hour ago, and the parking lot's already full. We've seen 15 to 20 people go inside the building already. Cook Foods has not said how many jobs they're looking to fill, and we don't know exactly what kind of turnout they'll get, but Cook is one of several chicken processing companies to get raided by ICE agents last week, with 680 workers detained for possible immigration violations. There's been a lot of criticism of the raid since then, much of it focused on the separation of children from parents who worked at those chicken plants. And ICE released a lengthy and strongly worded statement yesterday to clear up rumors, it says, and false information. Quote, every child who had two parents arrested last week had at least one parent released within 24 hours due to humanitarian reasons. We also expedited the processing of adults who identified they had a child in need of care and contacted schools as well, ICE says. More than 300 of those detained were released by dawn the next day, and ICE says we are the only law enforcement agency that does such things to persons arrested by federal law enforcement agencies. ICE says the reality is adults with children are arrested every day, but you never hear about how this separates them from kids unless ICE is involved. Now, some of those who were released have ankle monitors and court dates. The rest are being detained in 3 separate facilities waiting on bond hearings and deportation proceedings. And the feds say that Cook and the other employers are or could be the subject of this federal ongoing investigation, even as Cook and the other companies look to fill some of those slots that were lost by those workers who were caught up on those raids last week, Bill. And again, this job fair goes on until 1 o'clock local time today.
Thank you, Rick. Good to have you there for us, Mississippi. Rick Leventhal, thank you. Sandra.
For more on all this, let's bring in Tom Homan, former acting ICE director and a Fox News contributor. Tom, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Last we spoke was Thursday, right after these raids happened. Obviously, emotions were running high as we did see some of the images of those children crying when they were taken from their parents in all of this. The Trump administration did defend this move over the weekend. Here's McAleenan on Meet the Press.
These employers are exploiting undocumented workers. This is a situation where you have 680 arrests just in this one operation. That means those employers are just ignoring the law entirely in what they do. That's why a judge gave us a warrant to go after them.
And that was a big question when I spoke with you on Thursday. What happens to these employers who were exploiting these undocumented illegal immigrants?
Well, like I said, it's a criminal investigation, and most worksite criminal investigations include, we work with the IRS, it includes tax evasion because they don't pay taxes, the employment taxes, state and federal employment taxes if they're hiring illegal aliens. There's identity theft involved. And so it's a criminal investigation, and a part of this investigation is talking to the illegal employees during questioning, say, did they know you're illegal when they hired you? Did you show them any sort of documentation? What did you show them? So this is the case. This is how a criminal investigation happens. And if they get enough evidence, which I'm sure they will get, there will be indictments coming down for those who were in charge of hiring, knowingly, and hiring illegal aliens. So it's all part of a criminal investigation.
What happens to those taken in these raids in the meantime?
It depends. And I'm speaking from experience. I conducted these investigations myself as an agent in the 90s, and they're going to talk to the illegal aliens who are employed. They're going to get statements from them. Some will be held as material witnesses in a criminal investigation, and if they have a child and they're a sole caregiver, they will be released, which happened to the child. So the separation was temporary in nature. They worked very closely with the schools to make sure those in schools had a place to go when they got out, make sure they got reunited with parents. This was a textbook operation, and it was very well done.
Kamala Harris and those on the 2020 campaign trail reacting to this over the weekend. Here is Harris at the Iowa State Fair with her reaction.
This administration has directed DHS to conduct these raids as part of what I believe is this administration's campaign of terror, which is to make whole populations of people afraid to go to work. Children are afraid to go to school for fear that when they come home, their parents won't be there.
She claims these actions have petrified innocent families.
Look, bottom line, Kamala Harris is wrong. This is politics at its worst. The Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, uses terms that ICE invaded these companies and terrorized immigrants. ICE is enforcing the laws that Congress enacted. And Nancy Pelosi was there in 1986 when they created this employment sanctions law. And Kamala Harris, as a senator in the U.S. Congress, she needs to read the law before she starts vilifying the men and women who are merely doing their job, enforcing laws that they enacted. If she don't like it, change the law. But I'm sick and tired of how they turn this whole world upside down, where those who knowingly violate the law are the victims, and those who enforce law all of a sudden are the bad guys. This is what's happening in this country, and we need to step up. The American people need to pay attention to what's going on, because this is upside down. It's not the way this country should be.
President Trump, in his defense of these actions, said that these are a very good deterrent to illegal immigration. And that is the point that we have heard from him time and time again in his administration. Is this working?
It will work. It's a part of, look, Congress has refused to close the loopholes that are causing this mass migration on the border. As we know, 90% lose their case in front of an immigration court because they're not true victims of persecution. They're here for economic reasons. They want a better life, want to get a better job. So what do we do if the courts aren't helping and Congress refuses to address it? Then we need to do what we can to pull that magnet away so these people stop coming here. And it's just not about enforcing the law, Sandra. This is about saving lives. 31% of women are being raped making this journey. Children are dying. We got to stop enticing these people to come here and think they can get an illegal job. These people knowingly violate the law. They disrespect our laws in this country, and they get a job here illegally. The video from this operation is sad, I get it, but they knowingly put themselves in this position. You can't blame law enforcement for trying to secure our border and enforcing the law.
I think, and McAleenan's going to be holding this news conference shortly. We'll learn in a bit what more that is going to be about and whether or not he takes questions. But the DHS, McAleenan said over the weekend on Meet the Press, that has the names of the employers and they will be targeted, were his own words. He said this is a criminal investigation of the employers exploiting and skirting our laws, Tom. So moving forward with this, final thoughts from you on what happens with those employers ultimately.
The employers need to do the right thing and obey the laws of this country. And let me use an example. Tyson Foods, a major, another chicken processing, poultry processing company, a huge company. They had an immigration problem years ago. But you know what they did? They came to ICE, they joined the IMAGE program to learn how to not only attract the legal workforce, but maintain the legal workforce. Now they are a model in the industry. They have a legal workforce. So these poultry companies and companies like this, they can get a legal workforce. ICE will help them. They don't have to knowingly violate the laws to undercut their competition. Look, they hire these people to exploit them, to pay them less, and they do it to undercut their competition. I've seen it. Many U.S. citizens get unemployed because other companies hire illegal aliens, pay them less, and these other companies go out of business. This company can do the right thing. They didn't. They chose to violate the law.
A lot of unintended consequences, both sides, and we'll see where all this goes, and we await that news conference at the top of the hour. Tom Homan, thank you.